Right guys, hello and welcome back to Planet 40k. We're on the 12th of December on our countdown to Christmas. We've got our giveaway still ongoing. It'll be ongoing for the entire month. So get involved if you haven't already. It is free to enter, 1 entry per YouTube username. So get involved in that. The link will be down in the description and there'll be something on the page here. So today we're going to be talking about the Haruspex. What units can the Haruspex kill in one fight phase, basically? What can it wipe? Now, the Haruspex, I believe, is one of the better units in the Tyranids Codex, maybe the best, arguably. I don't want to know what it can kill, because Necrons are known to be quite resilient as an army, as a faction. So what can one of the better units in the Tyranids Codex do to the Necron units? Let's do that. First, we're going to go over the basic stuff to just give everyone a bit of a hint in what it can actually do, especially if you're a non-Tyranid player. Now, I've listed on the screen all the weaponry here, but we're purely looking at the melee weapons. We're talking about what it can kill in melee. So the Ravenous Maw is the first weapon that this thing's got. 14 attacks, hit on 3s, strength 7, minus 1 AP and a flat 2 damage. So a great standard sort of infantry killer. Space Marines, of course, that have got 2 wounds apiece. You're definitely wounded on 3s, minus 1 AP puts them on half a save, 4 up save. And 2 damage is all you really need. But 14 attacks there means you're pretty much guaranteed to be literally killing stuff with a sheer amount of attacks. Now this thing does have extra attacks with the shoveling claws. Only 4 attacks here, weapon skill 3+, but these are strength 14, minus 2 AP and a d6 plus 1 damage. So very high strength, reasonably decent AP. It could have been probably slightly bit higher, maybe at minus 3, but okay, minus 2 is okay. d6 plus 1 damage, again that could have been slightly bumped, but it's still potential of 7 per attack that goes through. Now there are a few options that we could do in terms of the detachments for this video. I mean, we could use the Invasion High Fleet. Obviously we've got to keep changing the maths depending on the actual enemy unit. Sustain hits against infantry and swarm, lethal hits against mods and vehicles and so on. We could use the Assimilation Swarm, but that's only really to heal us. We want to know what it can actually kill, so that's not going to really help in this video. And there's also the Crusher Stampede, which is a good option, but you have to take damage in order for it to be activated. But there are a couple of decent stratagems in there for monsters in particular. For example, being able to reroll your hit rolls with Rampaging Monstrosities, or Massive Impact, which is effectively like Tank Shock. 6 dice, any 4-ups, enemy unit suffers a mortal wound, and that's as soon as you get into engagement range. So let's get into it. We're going to start small. We're going to start off with the Canoptic Scarabs. They're only toughness 2, so we're going to work out how many Scarabs we're going to kill with all of our attacks combined. So if we took our Ravenous Maw, the average is 3.6 of these Canoptic Scarabs gone. They are 4 wounds apiece. The toughness is 2, so you're wounded on 2s. The armor save is gone because it's a 6 up with minus 1 AP. But 4 wounds apiece means even with your 14 attacks, you only kill 3.6 of them, which in a minimum unit that would wipe them, of course, but you can take up to 6. The claws, you do an average of an extra 1.6. So as a total average here, I'm just adding these averages up. I don't know if that's how it works mathematically, but I'm going to add them up for this video. It's an average of 5.2. So you're effectively killing 5 out of 6 of a maximum unit, which is actually pretty good. You're literally wiping out a unit effectively there. Not quite killing the unit, but maybe it's not actually a 6-man unit. So I'm quite happy with that one. In terms of Necron Warriors, toughness 4, 4+ armor with 1 wound apiece. Let's see how they fare. So the Maw does the average of 4.2. And the reason being is, well, in terms of its hits, it's getting around 9.3. In terms of wounds, because it's wounded on 3, you're getting about 6.2. Then after a 5+ armor save with the AP on top, that's only about 4.2 on average. Of course, the damage 2 doesn't really apply here because they're 1 wound models. So that's where the 4.2 comes from. With the claws, there's only 4 attacks here, so you're only getting 1.9 in total. So when you add these up, it's 6.1. Warriors generally come in units of 20. Even if it came in a unit of 10 with a Ghost Start, maybe, it's not enough. They are going to reanimate. There's going to be ways to reanimate them even further. So it's not as good against that kind of unit. It needs assistance. Lich Guard. Now Lich Guard have got a toughness of 5, 3 up armor, 2 wounds. Now if they've got a noble in the unit, it'll be a -1 to wound them if your strength is higher than their toughness, which in both weapons cases it is. So with the Maw, you're doing around 2.3 models. Let's just call that 2 for now. And with the claws, you're looking at 0.9. And the reason for that is Lich Guard with the swords and shields have a 4+ invulnerable save. That's what we're going up against. So 2.3 and 0.9 makes 3.2 in total. So you're only killing 3 out of a potential 10 Lich Guard models there. Now, of course, these numbers will be slightly better if you're going up against the Warscythe variant without the invulnerable saves, but especially without a Technomancer this edition, I don't see them being played. Scorpic Destroyers, they're next. They got a T6, toughness 6, so 3+ armor, 3 wounds apiece, which is going to make a big factor, especially with that Ravenous Maw. So the Maw on average is going to be doing 1.3. The problem with this is it's a 2 damage weapon, and these guys have got 3 wounds, so you've got to get 2 of these effectively to go through to remove a model, which pretty much is a little bit wasteful in the damage department. The claws also do 1.3 in fact, so in total you are looking at 2 Scorpic Destroyers, maybe 3. As for the Locust Heavy Destroyers, the Maw again 1.3, because very similar to the Scorpic Destroyers, although it's not as wasteful now because these are 4 wound models. The claws are 1.1, that makes 2.4. You're killing 2 out of 3 Locust Heavy Destroyers because the max unit size is 3. You can take them in singles, so maybe you start removing 1 or 2. You can take them in 2s as well. But yeah, 2 out of 3 I think is a decent one because Locust Heavy Destroyers are quite nasty. The Canoptic Spider, toughness 7 with a 3 armor, 6 wounds, and also has its own aura for vehicles, which is a Feel No Pain roll of a 6+. So the Ravenous Maw averages 3.9 damage, so we've changed to damage now rather than the actual models. 3.9 damage out of the 6 wounds. With the claws, you're looking at 5.5. So in total, that's 9.4, so that would kill a spider. The only downside to this is Canoptic Spiders can come in 2s. You can have a pair of them, very similar to Carnifexes in that way. So obviously if there was 2 models in there, it might not kill the unit. If you roll high on the D6+1, you could, but I wouldn't be unhappy with 1 spider. And the Doomstalker, toughness 8, 3+ armor, 4+ invulnerable with 12 wounds. The Ravenous Maw, 3.1 damage. The Claws, 4 damage, totaling 7.1 damage. Doesn't really kill a Doomstalker, it's got 12 wounds, so you're 5 wounds shy there. Not a bad damage output on a Doomstalker, which is toughness 8 with 12 wounds. You obviously need some other units to finish it off, or another fight phase, I suppose. One of the C'tans, if you're taking on any of the C'tans, I put a Void Dragon here for the image, but any of the C'tans have the same statistics now. They've all got toughness 11 with a 4+ invuln, 12 wounds, and a Feel No Pain of a 5. And they have all damage, so these things are nasty. I'm not expecting it to go down, to be honest. The Maw does an average of 1 damage. The Claws, an average of 2 damage. You're totaling 3 damage on a Void Dragon that's got 12 wounds. Not even close. Not even close. I mean, you won't expect it to be. The Haruspex is 125 points. The C'tans are like 250+. So yeah, you can't really expect it to. Then the last one I wanted to mention today is the Necron Monolith, one of the biggest options we've got in the Codex, without going with the Forge World stuff. Toughness 13, 2+ armor, 22 wounds. That's the new stats it's got this Codex. With the Ravenous Maws, 2 damage. You're going to need 5s to wound. It's only -1 AP, so it has a 3+ armor and 2 damage against 22. It's not a lot. So you're only getting 2 there. And with the Claws, you're getting 4. Strength 14, you're actually wounded on 3s because the toughness of the Monolith actually went down. You've then got the AP, putting it on a 4+, so you've got half a chance of actually it going through. And D6+1, you're rolling dice there, aren't you? But an average total of 6 damage on the Monolith. It's a 22 wound model, 350 points. You weren't expecting it to go. But 6 damage on its own isn't bad. It's just that reanimation does kick in. Now, of course, the game isn't as straightforward as all these figures that I've shown today. There's a lot of stratagems that can be involved. You've got the notion of who fights first, meaning maybe that your Haruspex takes enough damage to be on a -1 to hit. There's also buffs from the Necron sides with stratagems, and of course reanimation protocols. In fact, reanimation out of turn isn't uncommon either. From the Tyranid stance side, the detachment roll and stratagems can easily be utilised, maybe from the Crusher Stampede detachment. In fact, you could put in the Invasion Fleet, as we mentioned in the intro, and you can optimise your lethal hits or your sustained hits. When you see your opponent's list, you can kind of optimise. Synaptic Nexus also has some decent combinations with melee units, such as your reroll and hit rolls and things like that, and the invuln save, but I mean, we're talking about damage output here, not our resiliency for Tyranids. So all in all, a lot of variables, but from a base unit to base unit point of view, this is roughly what the Haruspex does, and I'm going to show it on the screen for you, just a little recap. 5 out of 6 Scarabs, 6 Warriors, 3 Lich Guard, 3 Scorpic Destroyers, 2 Locust Heavy Destroyers, a Canoptic Spider, 7 damage on a Canoptic Stalker, 3 damage on a C'tan, Void Dragon, and 6 damage on the Monolith. So really, even though it's one of the better units, going up against a lot of these Necron units, you can see I've marked in green the ones it done really well against, I've marked in yellow the ones that I'd be satisfied with, and the ones in red, It's just not enough, but it is only a 125 point model at the end of the day. I think its game isn't so much killing, it's more bullying off an objective. But I just thought I'd show you this kind of comparison because that's what this Countdown to Christmas theme is all about. Showing Tyranid units going up against Necron units, vice versa. So guys, this has been the 12th of December. I will see you tomorrow on the 13th. Have a good one.